This Sunday, AEW Revolution will take place from Jacksonville, Florida. We have an exploding barbed wire deathmatch and a Hall of Fame worthy debut to look forward to. The hype is truly real, and today I'm going to take you through my predictions for the event. Before we get to the juicy bits, let's just quickly run down who I think will come out on top in each match. I'll try and be quick so we can get to the bit that I know you're all here for. AEW Revolution last year is my favourite AEW pay-per-view so far, and this year's is certainly shaping up to either equal it or maybe even top it. And if you want to help support the channel, make sure you order the pay-per-view through my link in the description, and this is available for international viewers via Fight TV. So if you normally order through Fight, make sure you check out the link. And I'm really looking forward to seeing what happens on Sunday, so let's get into my predictions. So first off, let's take a look at Rio and Thunderosa versus Dr. Britt Baker, DMD, and Rebel. This is the first match Rio has had since the Eliminator tournament, where she was knocked out in the second round to Thunderosa, who she'll be teaming with tonight. Rio has only just come back to AEW and needs a win, and I think Rosa and Rio will get the win by pinning Rebel. Then next up we get to Miro and Kip Sabian taking on the Best Friends. And representing the Best Friends in this one will be Chuck Taylor and Orange Cassidy. In my opinion, this feud hasn't been great for Miro, and I think we need to get to the Miro versus Kip Sabian stuff as soon as possible. So hopefully the Best Friends come away with the victory today to start a bit of tension between the best man and his partner. So I'm going to go with the Best Friends for this one, and then hopefully we can start to see a feud between Kip Sabian and Miro in the future, with Miro hopefully winning that feud and moving closer to the top of the card. Next up we have quite a hard one to call. We've got the Casino Tag Team Royale, and the winner of this will become the #1 contenders for the AEW World Tag Team Championships. Now there's so many teams in this one, I'm not even going to name them all. I'm trying to think logically and put it together alongside my prediction for the title match later between the Young Bucks and Chris Jericho and MJF. And with that said, and based on my prediction for the tag team title match later on, which I'll get to next, I can see Santana and Ortiz coming away with the victory to set up some internal conflict in the inner circle. And speaking of the inner circle, Chris Jericho and MJF will be challenging the Young Bucks for the AEW World Tag Team Championships. And this has been a tough one to call, but I'm actually going to go with the Young Bucks. And I changed my mind at the last minute, and I'll explain why. I had originally planned to predict a Santana and Ortiz versus MJF and Chris Jericho match, but I think what would work better is if Chris Jericho took the fall in this match and was therefore blamed for the loss, and maybe down the line Santana and Ortiz can pick up the tag team titles, which would then present Chris Jericho as the weakness in the group, ultimately leaving with MJF taking over as leader and Chris Jericho realigning back with Sammy Guevara. So with that entire prediction, I think that the Young Bucks go home with the titles. Then we have the big money match, Hangman Page taking on Matt Hardy. The winner gets their opponent's earnings for the first quarter of 2021. And with this one, I think this has to be Hangman Page coming away with the win. This could be the start of his rise back up the card after losing out to Kenny Omega in the final of the tournament last year. Ultimately, Hangman needs to be getting the wins in his feuds in order to set up the rematch with Kenny Omega in the future. So yeah, with this one, Page comes away with the win. This could include an interference from Private Party, with the Dark Order helping even the odds, with Page joining the group, but that could be further down the line. And next up, we've got the tag team street fight between Team Taz taking on Darby Allin and Sting. Of course, this is Sting's first match since 2015, where he suffered from spinal stenosis in his match against Seth Rollins. He was then, of course, forced to retire, but now it seems that he's been medically cleared and the Icon is back in the ring. And with that said, he can't lose his first match, so Darby Allin and Sting have to come away with the victory, and hopefully we can see Darby and Sting move on from this Team Taz feud, because it feels like it's been going on for quite a while now, especially with Darby. Then we go to the face of the Revolution ladder match. The winner of this will earn a TNT title shot on the next episode of Dynamite against Darby Allin. In the ladder match, we've got Cody Rhodes, Scorpio Sky, Penta El Zero Miedo, Lance Archer, Max Caster, who is a bit of a wild card in this one. It's good to see him getting some singles action. And then finally, there's a mystery participant. And I think this could maybe be one of the names that was speculated for the major signing, which we're going to get to later. The likes of Rob Van Dam, Christian. You've also got the likes of Ethan Page, who's just left Impact, and his name's been floating around quite a lot. And I've heard a lot about Nick Aldis as well, the NWA World Champion. But my prediction for this one is in fact Christian. As I mentioned in the last video, I said he was under contract, so I ruled him out of being the major signing. But there's been more news come out that he hasn't actually got a contract. So yeah, a bit of a conflict of information. So based on that, I'm going to go with Christian for this one. In terms of who's going to win and challenge Darby on Wednesday, I'm going to go Scorpio Sky. He's very talented and I think this could be a big win for him. And next up, we have the Women's World Championship match between the champion Hikaru Shida and the challenger Ryo Mizunami. And of course, Mizunami was the winner of the AEW Women's Eliminator Tournament. And both women are familiar with each other, having wrestled in the same promotions over the years. I don't know too much about the challenger, but from what I've seen, she's very talented, but I think Shida will retain as to continue with her reign at the top of the division. I think it's going to take a bigger star to take the belt off her. And next up, we have an exploding barbed wire death match for the AEW World Championship, which is a sentence I never thought I'd be saying. And of course, we've got the champion Kenny Omega defending against the former champion, the man that he screwed out of the belt, Jon Moxley. I'm really looking forward to seeing how this one goes down. It may seem like a bit of an overload with the stipulation, but look, it's something different, something we haven't seen in an American promotion for a long time, if ever. I've never seen an exploding barbed wire death match myself, other than some clips from Japan with Cactus Jack. So yeah, I'm looking forward to it in HD and in the modern era. But with that said, who's going to come away with the victory? Is it going to be the champion or the challenger? And I think in this one, the odds are more in Jon Moxley's favor, I would say, with it being more his kind of environment. And before we get to the prediction itself, let's take a look at the rules for the match. And this is from a tweet directly from Kenny himself, and he says 3 sides of the ring ropes will be wrapped in barbed wire. Contact with the barbed wire triggers explosives on the corresponding side. There will be triple hell, which will see 3 zones on the floor wired to explosives, and there will be a 30-minute countdown timer until all explosives in and around the ring detonate. So what I'm not sure about is when we get to the 30-minute timer, if that sees the match end in a draw. I don't think it will, but if you're looking to make the loser look strong, the best way to do it is send them through exploding barbed wire. So I think whoever loses this will still look good in the process. So I think that's a good crutch to make Jon Moxley look like a badass whilst not winning back the title. And I think there could be some sort of interference from Don Callis or the Good Brothers. I was thinking we could be getting a Bullet Club reunion, but most of the Bullet Club have been on shows in Japan over the last week or so. So I can't see anyone like Tama Tonga or Kenta or Jay White or anyone like that showing up. So yeah, don't expect any Bullet Club members, but coming away with the win nonetheless is Kenny Omega, maybe via some help from his friends. So it's time for the main event, and the thing I think people are looking forward to the most at the pay-per-view, the grand reveal of the major signing to an AEW contract. Now, this prediction hasn't come easy, and I already know what's coming in the comments, and I'm about to put my neck on the line and make a bold pick, but at least let me explain why I came to this conclusion. As you may have seen yesterday, I ran down the entire list of all these speculated candidates and broke them down one by by one. For this debut to make a real impact, it has to be one of the last 5 on that list. In case you missed it, they were Batista, Brock Lesnar, CM Punk, John Cena, and The Rock. Anyone else wouldn't live up to the major star, Hall of Fame worthy hype, and Tony Khan seems adamant that fans will not be let down. This can be seen by his appearance on AEW Unrestricted as well as his interview with Busted Open Radio, as you can really see that he's excited and he means what he says. As great as they are, the likes of Kurt Angle, Christian, Mark Henry, Rob Van Dam just won't meet expectations, which is why I think they're more likely for the ladder match, but not for this grand reveal. Tony's a smart guy and he knows if he builds this up to this level and he lets the fans down, that a lot of trust is going to be lost. With that said, let's take a look at a direct quote from Tony Khan on Busted Open Radio that ultimately helped me make my final prediction. He said, "I'll say one thing. It's one of my all-time favourite wrestlers. I tipped this on AEW Unrestricted. I said the gender is a male. He's coming. He's going to do great things for us. He's committed. He's going to sign a contract on Sunday at Revolution on pay-per-view. We're going to have all these great matches, and also we'll have this big news coming out of the show." So first things first, he said there specifically he's committed, which makes me think this certain person is somebody that had reservations about being in wrestling again, but is now fully committed to AEW. So again, with that said, I think based on the 5 I've narrowed it down to, which one is likely to be one of Khan's favourite wrestlers? Let's think about what kind of fan he is to begin with. He's a fan of the Indies, Japan, and the like. Not so much the WWE style, so I think this rules out Batista and John Cena. I think Cena was a bit of a stretch anyway, and Batista probably was, but yeah, based on the wrestling he enjoys, I can't see them being his favourite. And I think the same can be said about Brock Lesnar, although he is a bit of a hit and miss with certain fans, but I'm going to rule Brock out for now. So that leaves us with The Rock and CM Punk. Even though The Rock has the aforementioned WWE style, he's a megastar and has a lot of fans within the wrestling scene, even amongst the hardcores. But let's be realistic, The Rock just isn't going to join AEW. He wouldn't even join WWE, which is the biggest promotion in the land and where he made his name. He's busy being Hollywood's biggest star. So that leaves one person. And if you recall, on our recent cancelled AEW plans we never got to see video, I discussed Tony's original shortlist for AEW. This was a list of names he pinpointed as key targets for AEW. The names included the Young Bucks, Kenny Omega, Cody Rhodes, Chris Jericho, and CM Punk. And this was from his own mouth. This person is the final piece to the puzzle. Tony specifically said it will be a wrestler, and he's one of Tony Khan's favourites of all time that can still go. His favourites do include the likes of Bret Hart, Austin, Kurt Angle, but I can't see them working matches in 2021. With all this considered, it can only be one man. I told myself I wasn't going to get my hopes up, and I understand all of the people that are going to rip me in the comments, and I was even having second thoughts about making this prediction, but I've been left with no choice. So here goes. I'm finally going to say it out loud. CM Punk will be at AEW Revolution this Sunday.